Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're a youth worker on the hunt for a really practical tool to get into those tough conversations, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to break down a powerful experience that's designed just for you and the young people you work with.
So, let's start with the big question, right? This is the one we all grapple with. In a world that feels so divided, how on earth do we create a space where young people can actually explore these deep, messy conflicts and not just shout at each other? How do we help them see not just what they believe, but why?
Well, the answer we're diving into today is an experience called the bunker. You can think of it as a short, intense, but really powerful simulation that gets right to the heart of how we handle conflict, all in a structured and, most importantly, a safe way.
Now, the bunker is a type of LARP, which stands for live action roleplay. And before your mind jumps to, complicated rules and costumes, let's just pause there. At its heart, a LARP is just a way for a group to tell a story together. It's not about being a great actor, not at all. It's about stepping into someone else's shoes for a little while just to see the world from their perspective. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the big idea behind it all. Then we'll walk you through the setting and the rules of the game. We'll look at the emotional journey it creates, cover the super simple toolkit you'll need to run it, and then we'll talk about why this little game can have such a big impact.
So, first things first, what's the goal here? It's really important to know that this experience isn't about solving some huge problem or even winning the argument. The real goal is to build something called conflict literacy, basically the skill of seeing and understanding all the different forces at play when beliefs clash.
The best way to think about the bunker is like a sandbox. It's a safe, contained space where young people can experiment. They can try out different ways of arguing, of persuading, of reacting to pressure, all without any real-world consequences. It's all about the process of exploring, not about finding some single right answer.
Okay, so let's get into the game itself. Let's step inside the bunker. The setting is designed to be dramatic, super easy to grasp, and it gets things going right away.
So here's the scenario your group gets dropped into. Imagine you're part of a community that has lived underground for generations. Suddenly, this loud alarm goes off. Someone has hit the button to open the main gate to the outside world. And here's the catch. It's on a 20-minute timer. In 20 real-time minutes, that gate is open. The choice is immediate. Do you let it happen, or do you find a way to stop it? And this is where the conflict really sparks to life. The community is split into 4 factions, and each one is basically a different worldview. The Shield believes the outside is dangerous. Their goal is safety. The Horizon believes the world is healed. They crave freedom. The Archive says, hold on, we need facts. They seek truth. And the Flame believes that their collective hope can shape reality. They're all about meaning and belonging. Each player gets assigned to one of these factions. So you've got these passionate factions. How do they actually interact? Well, the game runs on this really simple but kind of brilliant engine that makes abstract things like persuasion and information feel real and tangible.
Okay, first up, every single player starts the game with 3 of these, influence tokens. Just think of them as your personal currency of persuasion. They're your social capital. Having a physical thing to hold makes influence feel like a real, limited resource. You have to spend them to get information, and you can lose them in arguments, which means you have to be really strategic about how you use them. So how do you win an argument? It's super simple. When 2 players are trying to convince each other, they state their case and then play one single round of rock, paper, scissors. The winner gets a really interesting choice. They can either take 1 influence token from the loser, making them weaker, or they can force the loser to publicly agree with them for 2 whole minutes. It creates these amazing dynamic shifts in the room. The other big resource in the game is information, and it comes on these little cards. But here is the brilliant twist. Every single clue is intentionally vague. It mirrors how information works in the real world, right? A card might say something like, atmospheric reading, inconclusive. Is that good news or bad news? Well, someone from the Shield and someone from the Horizon will read that exact same fact and come to completely opposite conclusions. And this is where the strategy gets really deep. A faction can pool 3 of their influence tokens together to do an investigation. And they get a choice. They can either draw a new public information card for everyone to see, or, and this is the sneaky part, they can add one of their own secret, totally biased cards into the deck. They're essentially planting their own version of the truth for other people to find later.
Now, remember, all of this debating, this investigating, this persuading, it's all happening under the intense pressure of that 20-minute countdown. And that timer is designed specifically to take the players on a really clear emotional journey.
That journey pretty much happens in 3 acts. The first 6 minutes are just chaos and shock. The alarm is blaring, people are trying to figure out what's going on. Then, the middle part of the game is all about conflict and strategy. Factions start to organize, they pool their tokens, they start investigating. And those last 7 minutes, that's when the tension is at its highest. It's all about the final decision. Will anyone make a run for the button to stop the gate?
All right, let's switch gears to the practical stuff. How do you, the facilitator, actually run this thing? Well, I've got great news. It's designed from the ground up to be incredibly easy and accessible.
Everything you need is what we call print and play. You'll just print out a few sheets of paper, the descriptions for the 4 factions, and the decks of information cards. For the influence tokens, seriously, anything works. Coins, board game pieces, even just little scraps of paper. Then you just need a simple prop for the button and a timer that everyone can see. And that's it. You're ready to go.
Okay, this is a really important slide. We have to be honest about what this experience is. The pros are huge. It's a safe way to explore intense ideas, the rules are super simple, and it's amazing for building empathy. But you have to be aware of the warnings. This game is designed to be intense. Arguments will feel real. People might raise their voices. Emotions can and do run high. And that means the debriefing conversation you have afterwards, it's not optional. It is absolutely essential for making this a safe and productive experience.
And that brings us to the most important part of the whole thing. Those 20 minutes of gameplay, that's just a spark. The real lasting learning happens in the conversation that you lead right after the timer goes off.
The debriefing is where everyone gets to step out of their roles, take a deep breath, and make sense of what just happened. This is the bridge. It connects the feelings and choices they made inside the game to the real conflicts and disagreements they see out in the world every day. This is where the magic happens, and it's your most important role as the facilitator.
And you're not left to figure it out on your own. The materials come with some fantastic reflection questions to get you started. You can ask things like, what made you trust one person but not another? Or, which of those core needs felt the most powerful for you? These questions are the tools you use to help them connect the dots between the game and their own lives.
I think this quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. The point of the bunker is never about finding a winner. It's about giving young people a chance to actually feel what drives conflict from the inside so they can navigate their own world with a little more empathy and a lot more understanding. So we'll end with this question for you. In a world that's swimming in conflicting information and really strong beliefs, how will you help your group practice that difficult but absolutely essential skill of not just speaking, but truly, deeply listening? Because a tool like this can help create that space for practice, and that practice is more valuable now than ever before.